No, first Virginia Tech, they really jammed the lane and did a good job, and they'd been doing that their last couple games. We got some open looks, and then I thought we touched it was all right, but I don't mind taking good rhythm shots. We shot a couple, maybe more than a couple bad ones, and that's a very high number, so that is what it is.
Tony, did they do something differently to crowd around the basket? It seemed like really hard to get to the
rim. Yeah, they did a real good job. They really flooded and jammed the lane. And, we almost stole that game, but that's what it would have been, stealing that game. And they outplayed us. If you're going to – of course, I told our guys, I liked some of the shots and the plays you made and stretches of stops to get back in that game, to put it to overtime. And even when we had the lead, one time we fell down, we missed some free throws, a couple miscues. You can't do that if you're going to steal one. But I think there was too many, the way we started against Florida State in the first half, there was too many breakdowns for us, miscues. I know you'll say, well, you only had 4 turnovers and all that, but defensively we were broken down, and they outplayed us for the most part, and then we fought again to get back and possibly steal it. But you got to grow from it and learn from it, but it's got to be sounder than that, and wasn't enough.
Doug, you got those 2 free throws from Isaiah, and then you got your best free throw shooter at the line.
Yeah.
How do you console him after something like that?
Yeah, I think that happened. He missed one in a game earlier, and then he came back and knocked a bunch down at crucial times, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the game. Boston College. Yeah, and then he came back after. That's when he missed some. And we had a chance to, again, steal it. That's the word I'd use, and get one. And then sometimes that's good enough. You take it any way you can. But if I look at the quality and over the majority of it, I didn't think we had enough quality to get that. I thought there were stretches of it, and then we got to tighten it up, and that's part of it.
Tony, you mentioned getting broke down defensively, especially in the first half.
Yes.
How big a part was Justin Robinson of that?
Yeah, he's really good. Obviously, look at his stat line. He 20, and he had 32 the night before, or the game before against NC State. He made a couple tough shots, but I didn't think we were contesting his shots in the first half. We were, again, like the start of the Florida State game, a little sluggish, and guys got up and shot, and our ball pressure is important without getting beat. And then we rallied and we're better in the second half, but we let them get going, and we were playing catch-up, and he made some big plays. And then, again, a couple offensive rebounds they got at the inopportune time.
Other questions? Mike?
Tony, on a night like this where it kind of doesn't go your way on both ends of the floor, are you worried that how the team will respond, or do you have a pretty good feel that this won't be a big blip, a bad night, but not a blip?
Well, first of all, it was a phenomenal atmosphere. Our crowd, the people came out. That was special. It was as loud as I've heard. All that stuff. Certainly appreciate that. How you respond? We got to go and we play Miami, who I think is excellent, one of the most talented teams in our league, in their building. So that's part of this league. That's part of. I don't get too carried away with where we're at. I say thus far. Now we got to prove it again. I told our guys, unbelievable job where they're at. We didn't do the job tonight. Now we get a chance to do it again, and we're going to have to fight like crazy every game. Everybody is capable of beating everybody in this league, and that's reality. Some guy asked me after the Florida State game, what do you think about going, you guys were there 18-0 in conference, and I just laughed. Come on. That's ACC basketball, and if you're a little off, it's not enough. Not in this league, not against the way Virginia Tech played, and, of course, the rest of the teams.
Is there any sense that now being ranked number 1 talk will be out of the picture for a while?
Yeah.
Did that matter to you, the possibility of being ranked number 1?
I just wanted to win. It's like I said, you just embrace the challenge and you go at it a game at a time. Had we won, you're right, we'd have been number 1, and I wouldn't have felt great. I would have certainly been excited but again, it's always about quality of play. And yeah, you got to steal some, but that opportunity for right now is gone, and who knows if you'll get that chance. Sure, it would have been great for everybody, but that's a small thing. It's about your quality and how you play and continuing on in a conference race.
Chris?
Coach, it looked like you tried a whole lot of stuff in the second half to get in the lane. You elevated but there were a lot of stuff you did. Did you feel like you did get some inside, or?
Yeah, I thought, even when we got it in, they flooded, but when we got it in, inside out, that's when we got some good looks. I thought Isaiah made some nice passes, one nice interior one to Mamadi, and then he found some guys that were set. But again, if they're going to jam the lane that much, you do have to knock down some of the shots, because there were enough good-looking shots, and it just wasn't going. We've seen Ty make some of those bombs. Well, tonight, no. Kyle, he wasn't on, obviously looking at his numbers, and we got to go back and look at, are we getting the quality looks, and keep fine-tuning and figuring out what we can do to improve defensively and offensively.
Kyle played 45 minutes. Did that
Yep.
into it at all?
Sure. I mean, he could have been fatigued. I just thought those were the guys that, Justin Bibbs played 40. Look at that, 44, 43, 43. It was just one of those games. We felt like we had to go that way. We had to try to get some guys who could make some shots, and I've seen Kyle miss a few and then get hot. But he usually can go pretty long, and fatigue is not a huge factor for him.
Any other questions? You good? One more?
Yeah.
All right, take one more.
What did you think of DeAndre's defense on Robinson?
I thought he was our best defender when we put him on there, and that's why we played him more on the perimeter. His length and his ability to do a good job laterally, I thought really gave us a lift. And again, that he was hard to handle, but that's the second time we've not been able to handle a guard, and I thought DeAndre's done a nice job at least bothering shots and keeping guys in front. And that was, I think, part of the key of our getting back into the game, among other things, but that was key.